Okay, so A2 Politics is a 90-minute exam. Now let's think through the parts of the exam. There's Section A first of all. Section A is worth 45 marks, made up of 3 15 markers. So you're going to want to spend half your time, 45 minutes, on these 15 minutes apiece. So 15, 15, 15 minutes. Section B, the 45 marker, and there's a lot you've got to get involved in here, lots of aspects. You're going to have to do a plan, so some sort of tick versus cross. I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this. And that planning might take 3 minutes. Introduction, there's a video on that, on how to introduce. It should be very concise, very short, again about 3 minutes. Conclusion, you want 5 minutes to do a proper conclusion. Again, there's a nice video on that. And I should have mentioned even planning. I'm going to do a little video, watch out for it, on how to plan really quickly. Now adding all those up, that's going to leave you with 34 minutes to do the 2 main sections. Now, it's a bit of a myth you have to do them half and half, 50-50. You don't. You have to look at both sides. You've got to spend a decent amount of time on both sides. It doesn't have to be 50-50. In fact, presumably there's one of those sides that you personally favour, there's one side you believe in. Wouldn't it make sense to spend more time on that side? So let's say I believe in the side that's given by the question, which by the way, by default you give first in the answer. So I'm going to spend 20 minutes on that one. The second side, I don't believe in this, I'm going to provide it, but I'll argue against it. I'm going to spend maybe 14 minutes on that one. And that gives us our timings. Okay, so exam begins and away we go. The time's going to start at 9:05. So we're thinking, right, we've got 3 to 15s to get through for 45 minutes. It's all got to be done by then. Let's mark them out. Number 1, number 2, and then the 45 minutes there, the end of the third 15 marker. Okay, we're halfway, 45 minutes into the exam. It's time now for the 45 marker. So how are we going to work out the timings? Well, 45 minutes left, got lots of things to do. First job's the planning, so 3 minutes to there. Next job, the introduction, another 3 minutes, gets us to about there. After that, we've got the main section to get through. So we're going to do the first side, we're talking there about 20 minutes, so that gets us to 5, 10, 15, 20, about there. 14 minutes next for the second part, so 5, 10, 15, take off a little bit, about there. There's your second half of the main essay. Lastly, conclusion, 5 minutes, and you must protect that 5-minute conclusion. We know the exam ends here, so that time there is absolutely vital. Right, a few key tips to finish. Number 1, bring to the exam an analog watch. You know, one of those with the hands. You're going to need that to see spatially the gaps you've got between each of the questions. Saves you having to do any maths with a digital watch. Please be careful, don't bring one of those iWatches or smartwatches. You get in massive trouble at OBS. Secondly, take off your watch. They make you do that anyway these days, but here's the thing, take off your watch and put it literally right next to your work. You want it to be in your line of sight so you can see it without having to look up, without having to look across the desk. It's literally there all the time, even subconsciously you're taking it in. Now these time limits, we talked about this in the video, knowing exactly when this 15 marker comes to an end, when you're going to get on to the next one. Never ever go past these, not even by a second or two. It's very tempting. You're going to think, oh, I've just got one last thing to say. No, be real disciplined, time's up, great, move on. You can come back to it this time at the end, but you don't do it during the middle of the exam. And lastly, in the 45 marker, even if what you're writing was really, really clever, just leave a space. If you're out of time, leave a gap, write the conclusion. You need a full 5 minutes for the conclusion, and if there's time you can always go back and fill in something here. The examiners won't mind at all. If there's not time, just leave the gap. It's not a problem at all.